Love that song. What up? We in here? Looks like we're in here. I better mute my mute
We're
my.
in
What up?
here.
We in here? I'll be hearing myself 9 times. What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in. Episode 20 already. Can't believe it's been that fast. Thanks for checking in. Our guest, MoreCowbellCody, here with us again. Appreciate you checking in with us, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Last week was awesome having someone else to talk to instead of me just blabbering at my damn webcam. I feel like a creep sometimes. What have you been
That's a
up
lot
to?
easier
Tell
too,
us about
people,
your
right?
week.
Oh yeah. Well, so I had the art stream. So I got a gift in the mail from somebody the other day. And
Cool. What
I
was
wonder
it?
who that. I wonder who that was. It was a giant pallet. It was a really big pallet. A pallet's the
What is a palette?
the tool used to mix paint, which I had used this drum,
Oh yeah, we watched that. Actually, me
that
and my wife and 2 kids all watched your last one.
which was kind of cool to use a drum, but yeah, so I guess you saw that and you sent me a palette, and I really appreciate that.
Well, it wasn't me. It must have been Santa
And
Claus.
oh, it must have been Santa Claus. So and I have some other things I want to do for the art stream. So I kind of brainstormed and came up with some cool ideas, and I've been thinking into like the holiday season. Uh, I don't want to get too cheesy with it, but I think we'll have a lot of fun.
You
Get a lot
seem
of
like a
people
cheesy
involved.
individual.
I'm pretty cheesy
You do
sometimes,
seem like that type. I bet you could do some cool Christmas shit though.
man.
Is it
I
hard to paint
love
Christmas lights?
to. Now, what do you mean, actual Christmas lights or?
Like say I have this vision of a cabin up on a bluff in Montana with a spring-fed natural creek, some snow on the roof, and some little dangling Christmas lights on my front porch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could you do
Oh
Christmas
yeah.
lights like that, or are those hard?
To just paint them?
Shit, I
That's
don't know.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to, yeah, I can make that easy. No problem. I can paint lights all day. The Christmas lights are the easiest lights, I think, probably. And
Basic colors probably the same. What are they like? Blue, green, red. That's about it,
yeah,
isn't it?
pretty much. Yeah. Just make the fade. Do what it's
Yep.
like it's called the takeaway. You get too much, you just take some of it away. No
I can't
problem.
believe I was watching your last painting, and well, after you started on that mountain, and you're like, I feel like that's too much paint. You're like, just scrape some of it off there. And I'm like, man. And then you went to do like the blur of the reflection into the water,
Right.
and you just grabbed it with your paintbrush, and you're like, just swipe down, swipe down, swipe down, swipe across. And I'm like, that takes so much commitment. I was telling my lady, I'm like that's a big decision in life. You could possibly ruin your painting. I feel like, but you're just man, you're right on it.
Yeah, that's what's cool about oil is that what I probably need to do is like just really mess some stuff up really bad. But what I'll do is I'll wait till I mess up accidentally and I'll pretend like it was on purpose. And I'll be like, now see, here's a great time
Yeah.
to teach everybody how to fix that. But no, oil paint's really easy to fix. But the thing is that yeah, after you're involved in the painting for a an hour, if you're doing a big paint, you don't want to mess up then you too
Right.
much.
You got some time
But
invested in that thing and some
yeah,
money,
once you
obviously. But we
right,
figured out how much it costs per painting. I mean, it's not astronomical, but
no,
you
it's
know,
not.
you don't want to throw 30 or 40 bucks out the window either.
No, that's why I still have the paint that I used, you know, the other day.
Is
It's
that
still right
still
here.
wet?
This, oh yeah, yeah. This stuff, it'll last forever. It'll be there. I can use that paint. What I'll use that for is I mix it all together, and I'll use that for the base of all the mountains that I make tomorrow. If I make whatever I'm going to do, I got some other
Okay.
ideas of stuff, but yeah, just save that. Look, I've already got paint all over me. I'm not even doing an art show. How
That's all right.
about that? All right.
So, do you sell your paintings or auction them off, or what do you do with them? Like, obviously, you're going to be making a lot of paintings if you're doing one episode a week, right?
Yeah, I let these paintings. They kind of do what they want. That sounds funny, but it just it seems like that the the main thing to do is to donate the paintings to people who are raising money for certain causes for whatever, and that seems like the okay. I'm an artist, and I would like you want to make money, of course, but you have to be honest with yourself. Not everybody in the world is looking for an oil painting to go purchase
Yeah.
for $500 or more, right? So
Sure.
if you make the oil painting available to people, if I'm painting 2 or 3 oil paintings a week, you know as well as I do that I can give a painting away and it's not going to hurt me. I mean, you got them sitting around, but at the same time, that's your that's your life, that's your business. Car salesman's not going to give away all of his cars just because he has 30 of them in the lot. But and my paintings aren't worth as much as a brand new car. But that's not
Right.
the point. The point is that it's able to be used as a tool to uh, generate something for someone, whether that's money or food or whatever.
Well,
And that's the
you
whole
have a
point.
very specific skill. I mean, it's not everybody can paint and paint well. Everybody can paint. I shouldn't say that. Everyone can paint. Not everybody can paint well, right?
It's
And so, like,
definitely,
for the relatively low cost of overhead, that seems like a fantastic way to draw attention to any sort of donation or nonprofit, or what am I looking for there? You said the word, I just forgot it.
I forgot it. Um,
When someone's trying to raise money for something like Scruffy or whatever, fundraiser. Duh,
Fundraiser
raise funds,
to
fundraiser makes sense. Duh.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, any sort of fundraiser. I mean, it's a pretty low cost thing. Well, actually, was it? Is a year ago, September. Yeah, a year ago, you sent me a painting for my American Legion's September 11th Memorial Ride, and
Actually, yeah, yeah, I did.
that
That was a
yeah,
year ago.
you sent me that at no cost. That was a donation. I was able. I think I bought it back. There was no way I was not buying nothing back. It was beautiful, and like for real, it's on my wall right now. I love it.
I I'm kind of the same way. Like there's some paintings there's one that I wanted really bad, and it was one that I had donated. I took last year. I went to my dad's in the Vietnam War, and so he had his group uh, every year. The 192nd Aviation Brigade has their annual get together, and we met out in Kansas City. So I took like 5 or 6 paintings with me to donate to their fundraiser. And but there was one that I wanted really bad. I wanted it so bad, and my dad bought it, and but to give to me. But then later on that night at dinner, somebody's like, "Oh, I wanted that one so bad. I don't know who got it." And they were talking. I heard them talking about it, and I just sent that painting to them. I couldn't keep it. But even myself, sometimes I want to buy the painting back. It's
Yeah,
just
you
something
did one
about
of a
them.
war chief that I love, an Indian war chief. I
Which
love
one
that
is
one.
it? You have to show me which one that is. Do I still have it?
I don't know if you have it or not. It's on your get. Can I share your Facebook art gallery page?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Boom shakalaka. Facebook.com, Cody's Custom Art, right? Either I'm following you or I'm following somebody else named Cody who also does paintings like yours.
Right.
But yeah, you got one on there of a Indian war chief. He's got a handprint on his face. I love that one.
Okay. Let's see.
If I ever strike it rich, man, there you see those posts. It's like if I ever hit the lottery, I'm not gonna tell anybody, but there'll be signs. One of the signs is you're gonna be sending me a painting every 3 days. I love it. It's
I would love to do that. Yeah, I still have. I think I still have. Is it black and white, and then maybe
brown
I'll have to.
feathers,
Yeah, I think I still have
all
that
black
one.
and white with brown
I'll
feathers. Yeah,
send it.
that's a cool one. You did one of
I'll
a
send that
rooster.
one
I
to
think
you.
it's pretty cool. I don't know if I don't think I told you you weren't on the stream at that point in time, but our favorite little rooster, we had a bantam rooster. He passed away about a month ago, and he was such a colorful bird, not colorful in physical color,
Right.
and colorful with personality. Like
Right.
you could tell when he's in a bad mood. He get all shitty with you, you know. But
Right.
I got so many
Yeah,
ideas,
man.
man. I just can't. I'm not good at painting. But speaking of not being good at painting, what about the thing we talked about the other day about like a startup kit? If you were to make a list of like say 8 basic colors, a couple of sizes of canvas, how much does it start for someone just to figure out if they can make something worth shit or not?
Let me look here real quick. I've got Here's a starter kit oil painting set for $10, 10.99, and it comes with 12. Holy moly! Hold on. 24, 24 colors. You kind of see
Okay.
that, and that's enough for several paintings.
Oh,
Um,
really?
it is depending on what type of painting you're. You know, if you're going to paint, if you're trying to do something where you're painting with globs of paint, that's not going to be enough paint. But if you want to break the paint down and just really just thin it down as much, as much as you can without ruining its integrity, um, you can go take it a long way. And
Would that be
that's
enough
what.
for one or two paintings for sure?
Oh, I can get. I could probably get 5 to 10 paintings out of that thing down there if I was really careful and um, you know did
That's not bad at all. 11,
yeah.
12 bucks.
Trying to think of the word frugal. Yeah,
Efficient.
efficient. It's one of those
If
fancy
you're
words.
if you're efficient with your paint. Yeah, assume I'm
Yeah,
not going to be. Assume I'm going to make a lot of mistakes and stuff. So it
and then
cost
you're
me
gonna have to
12 bucks
buy.
for that. It cost.
Then you're gonna
We
need.
looked up. Oh yeah, brushes
And,
and a knife.
and so
Now I got a paint scraper in the basement. Will that work?
you got to have this knife because I got it. I
Okay.
mean, if you're painting a wall, I got this
Yeah.
paint scraper, and yeah, you can use it, but then you're gonna have some giant mountains. Boom.
Yeah.
You know. So with these little knives, you can have two. One's I guess 1 inch and a 3 inch, or I don't know, a 1 inch and a 2 inch knife maybe. But that's basically what you're going to need. And then you can get these smaller ones. Um, they look really cool.
Oh, I got one of those
But
for my peanut butter up next to my bed. I eat some peanut butter crackers tonight. That's what I
you have
use.
one like this for your peanut
Yeah,
butter.
I
That's
swear to God.
awesome.
I didn't know what it was. I thought it was for grout, for
That's
brick and
awesome.
tile. To be honest with you.
Well, you're going to need these brushes. Now, this is just, um, what do they call it? A cutting corners or whatever. I can't, trim brush. But I use this one. What I used the other day, I used the actual 2 inch brush, which is this one, and it has very fine bristles. And I keep these brushes with a little. I have just a little bit of paint thinner in the brush so it doesn't dry up. And I have something else I have. I can't remember what it's called, but it helps it hold the shape. It's kind of like glue. So you want to constantly clean the brush. Otherwise, each one of these brushes costs anywhere from $20 to $50 for a brush.
Do they
And
have to be the expensive ones, or can we just get the old? Like I just
you
bought
can
when I
you
was
can get
painting
the
my trim. I bought a kit like six brushes from like 1 inch to 3 inch. It's got like I think it's got three of each. So a 1 inch, a 2 inch, a 3 inch straight, and a 1 and a 2 and a three
right.
inch angle.
What's going to happen is with every brush, it's what happens is the bristles come out on your painting. So the more expensive the brush, the less the bristles come out. The cheaper the brush, the more bristles come out quicker. Therefore, you're
Yeah.
over there with your knife trying to scrape, trying to get a, now you're trying to play operation to get the thing off your paint without ruining the paint. And let's say, oh, wow, I just went across and made some water and there's this 3 inch long horsehair in the middle of it.
Oh yeah.
Now you got to try to figure out how to scrape it off there without ruining all the light on your water. And that is probably going to ruin it. You're probably going to have to start over. So that's why the expensive brush is important, is because, yeah, um, you're working with tools, but let's think about, are they shiny tools? How shiny are they? Are they shiny
Right.
enough to work? And it's like keeping keeping the good tools, getting the best tools, and keeping them clean. That's a huge, I wouldn't say secret, but I think it's definitely something I learned the hard way. Keep
So
your
just for like starting though, like I
clean,
don't have
man.
to have a $20 brush. I can
No,
buy a
man,
cheapo brush just to see if I'm
absolutely.
worth a shit.
Yeah, it's like you don't. Yeah, with anything, you don't want to go buy all the best stuff to do whatever. You're going to want a blender brush, like a 2 inch blender brush, or a 1 inch blender brush, a 2 inch brush, a fan brush, and some little bitty, like one little thin brush, like little bitty. That was
Oh
messed
yeah.
up, but you can get them, and that's one you're going to use to like make these thinned out, really thinned out lines, like for tree or something like that with branches that are dead that are kind of, I don't know. There's one back there. That tree has a bunch of crazy. Like when I look at the painting in the back, I look at that tree. I'm like, yeah, there's going to be some vultures landing on that tree at some
Hell
point.
yeah.
You can see it. But
Like
that's
the
how you would
vultures
make
from
that.
Bambi. Don't start that
Absolutely,
again.
absolutely those vultures.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah,
save the rest of my paint questions for your stream tomorrow,
right. I appreciate it.
so we can
Open
yeah,
up.
yeah, for sure. We want to give you a bunch of good content. I'm sure I'm not the only one with these questions, right? I mean, other people want to learn if it's something
That's
that anybody can get into.
right. That's where I'm going to need your help. Or to have someone there to also read chat, talk to me, and what we did talk about having
Yep.
someone there to paint along. So
I think that would be an awesome stream if we could figure out a way to make that happen. We honestly we'd probably do something like this,
yeah, we
just a
can do it
setup
just
like
like
this with both
this.
of our screens on here
It's a
and
painting stream.
teach me, man. Let's spend an hour and a half. Let's do it. I'm game. Not
Yeah,
tomorrow. I got to order the stuff, but
right.
I'm definitely in to try it with you.
I mean, I can take a piece. If you've got a piece of like drywall or a piece of wood, plywood or anything, I mean, I could take a piece of drywall and set it up over here, and we could just make mountains and clouds like for half an hour and show the techniques. And after
Right.
anybody, I don't care who it is, after they make 10 daggone mountains, they're gonna be like, holy moly, I can make mountains now. It's not hard, you know. And I'm not trying to like,
Yeah. Don't
you know,
downgrade yourself.
downgrade myself, but
It's obviously hard, or everybody would do it, right?
everybody needs to do it. They need to try it for real. Um, you never know. I think I just wanted to do it really bad. That's what
Well,
it
I'm
is. Is
excited. I'm excited for
yeah,
you. I love both of your streams. We watch both of them, like I said, as a household, and we spent a lot of time watching that other guy. You know the guy I'm talking about.
yeah, right.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time watching him. So we're definitely a fan of everything you do, and
I
we would
appreciate it.
definitely be glad to partake in any of that in the future. But
It's going to be fun.
we gotta
There's
save some content
there's
for your stream tomorrow.
yeah,
We
there's a
can't talk
lot of
about all
stuff
the art
happening.
stuff today,
A lot of stuff happening. It's going to be fun. Everybody's going to be there.
for sure. And Speedy is in chat, and he says if you need someone to help out too, he'll be there. And Speedy's an awesome dude.
Absolutely,
He's
Speedy.
always
Speedy's awesome.
all
Can't do it
right.
without
Well,
Speedy.
do you have your what in the hell? Oh, someone else just went live. I just got a pop up. Who is it? I'm not gonna click it. Not gonna click it. Not doing it. So you have
Opening comments.
your sheet pulled up here, your to
Yes, I do.
dos. All right. So we went over what you did this week, and ABC Raid Live Art Stream #2 was good. You said. So what I
Absolutely.
do this week? Went to the races Tuesday. It was the last big money race in my area, pretty much. Drug the camper over there, had the kids stay at grandma's house for a weekend, and me and the lady, kind of tore it up a little bit. Stayed up late and had a few drinks, doing that type of stuff. Did some yard work. I had to replace the belt on my mower,
Oh
so
wow.
finally got some mowing done. Harvested some more of our sweet corn. Love that shit.
I love
Um,
sweet corn.
man, if you were closer, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I got 2 acres out here. All I do is grow shit and feed chickens. Had a cookout Saturday.
What?
We ate. Oh, hey, we'll see you.
Hey
Have
man,
a
we'll
good
see you,
night.
brother.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Yep, I'll see you soon.
We cooked up the doves that I shot last week, I guess. I think it was
All
pretty
right.
good. I don't know. Meat Shield, you had some, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was
All right.
freaking excellent.
Yeah, you said it was excellent. Was that your first time ever eating dove?
Some
Yeah,
tasty
it was mine and the
birds.
wife's first. Both. Great.
But better than chicken, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's better than chicken.
Those are like premier chicken nuggets. Of course,
Yeah,
they're wrapped in bacon.
you got to make them a little bigger.
I can't. Every stream I go on, I end up getting hungry listening to everybody.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe we'll do a cooking stream one of these times. I can jump on the grill and cook up some dead animal that I killed, and you can paint it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Definitely a cooking stream. I think I told
Yes,
somebody
man.
if I had 1,000
Definitely a
followers,
cooking
I would do
stream.
a cooking
I
stream and
think I
talk
told
like somebody
somebody.
as a child the whole time.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be
What else
crazy.
did I do? Oh, I won my first fantasy matchup of the year for NFL fantasy,
Ah,
and looks like I'm gonna win week 2. I'm like 53 points ahead, and all the dude's got's like a tight end or something. So that's probably a solid 2-0 start for my fantasy season. Although 2 of my players are hurt, so Cooper Cup, he's on the injured reserve list, which means he can't play for 4 more weeks.
mm,
I got second in my NASCAR fantasy league. I scored 228 points, which is still a damn good day. I had the best roster, but I shit the bed on my bonus picks. But it's okay because I still beat Cowboy by 76 points, which opens up my lead to 368 points over second place with only 7 races left. Kevin Harvick was eliminated from the playoffs, so it's his. He announced it's his last year racing, so it's kind of sad to see him go out with no wins or not making a playoff run. But we had a whole lot of good years watching Kevin Harvick race. Do you watch NASCAR at all?
I haven't watched in a while. I love NASCAR. I just don't have cable TV. I just
Yep.
stopped watching TV. I don't know why. I just did. I watch Netflix
There's
He
a
was
sometimes.
the
fix for
guy who
that.
took over after Dale Earnhardt Sr. died.
Yeah, that's kind of why I quit.
Yeah, yeah. It
That was
is
my
hard to
guy.
watch after that. I mean, it is. But
Yeah,
honestly, Dale Jr. took a lot of us Americans through that trauma. Seeing him go back
yeah,
out there every week and never give up, and
right.
yep. And he's still, I mean, he's still America's favorite driver for sure.
Yeah,
All right,
I
well,
mean, yeah, definitely. I love Dylan Hurt.
we got some history. I pulled up some good history this week, I think. Are you are you on the document there?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Let's just alternate. Let's just do every other one.
Okay.
I think we did good last week with the timeline. You, you're very responsive to my pauses. You knew what that meant, and I appreciate that.
Right.
So we start
No
way
problem.
back in 1620, September 16th of 1620. The Mayflower ship departed from England bound for America with 102 passengers and a small crew. The ship weathered dangerous Atlantic storms and reached Provincetown, Massachusetts on November 21st. The Pilgrims disembarked at Plymouth on December 26th. So how long
I've
of
been there.
that's a September, October, November, that's a 2.5 month, over a 2 month journey.
Yeah,
That would
only
suck.
only to get there in the freezing cold.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I think men were just tougher back then, you know?
you probably were. Probably were. I've been there, Plymouth Rock. Okay.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we Dad took us there. We took a trip one year to Cape Cod, Northeast. Drove around, went to Plymouth Rock. They had some reenactments going on, etc. And it was really cool. Nice little uh, history lesson for everybody.
Heck yeah.
September 15th, 1776, British forces under General William Howe captured New York during the American Revolution.
So a lot of people don't know that the British were actually like I was never taught in school that the British ever had any sort of, you know, leg leg to stand on, I guess. We always just kind of heard about the guerrilla warfare and we won our freedom, right? But
Right.
yeah, they were definitely taking over our big cities. September 17th, 1787, at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, delegates from 12 states voted unanimously to approve the proposed U.S. Constitution. On September 17th, the nation observes Constitution Day and Citizenship Day as part of Constitution Week. The commemoration honors both the signing of the U.S. Constitution and an observance that began in 1940 as I Am an American Day. And that is the theme that I did my background image on today, as you can see from the We the People and stuff.
Right. Okay. September 13th. So that was a yesterday. I'm an American Day. September 13th, 1788. The U.S. Congress chose New York as the federal capital of the new American government. September
So,
18th, 1810, Chile declared its independence from Spain after 269 years as a colony. I just read that because every one that I read was one sentence.
you're good, man. You can keep going if you want. I'm just
Oh, yeah.
we can wing it.
September 14th, 1812, Napoleon and his troops first entered Moscow as the retreating Russians set the city on fire. Napoleon found it was impossible to stay through the winter in a ruined city. He then began a retreat from Moscow, which began one of the great disasters of military history. Fewer than 20 of the original 500,000 men with him survived the Russian campaign.
Oh shit.
That's crazy, man.
That is not a good ratio.
No. Man, that's
September
bad.
13th, 1814, the Battle of Fort Henry in Baltimore Harbor occurred, observed by Francis Scott Key aboard a ship. He watched the British attack overnight and at dawn saw the American flag still waving over the fort, inspiring him to write the verses which were later coupled with the tune of a popular drinking song and became the U.S. national anthem in 1931.
I've been there too. I was in sixth grade, I think. Okay. Right?
I couldn't hear
Popular
him. What did he
drink.
say?
I said, "Leave it to
He
America."
said,
Popular drinking song, national
right,
anthem.
the little voice came in. It's like right on time. September
Yeah,
17th, right? Um,
I'm betting the Irish Americans were somewhere in the
there's
area.
definitely there definitely had something involved in that. Uh, definitely. September 17th, 1862, the bloodiest day in U.S. military history occurred as General Robert E. Lee and the Confederate armies were stopped at Antietam in Maryland by General George B. McClellan and numerically superior Union forces. By nightfall, 26,000 men were dead, wounded, or missing. That's still a lot. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think it's still the
Just
deadliest day. Yeah.
by nightfall, I mean, golly. That's,
Well, back in the day, they didn't fight a whole lot at night. I mean, it was pretty well like it was a gentleman's war, right? They called themselves
right.
gentlemen.
But to have that
It,
many people dead or wounded at the end of the day in just one day.
yeah, it's times were different, man. Times were different. September 14th, 1901, 8 days after being shot, President William McKinley died from wounds suffered during an assassination attempt in Buffalo, New York. He was succeeded by Theodore Roosevelt.
September 16th, 1908, General Motors was founded by entrepreneur William
Yeah, you
Croppo.
can pronounce that one.
William Croppo, Billy Durant in Flint, Michigan.
I wonder
Durant?
if Yeah, it's Durant. I wonder if
Yeah.
William Crapo Durant is related to Thomas Durant, who was one of the
The
uh
helicopter warrant officer Durant in Somalia.
no.
Oh,
Thomas Durant was one of the the Continental Railroad, I don't know, financiers or moguls. You know what I'm talking about?
huh. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah,
I have
Thomas
to look
Durant
into it.
was like it was him, like JP Morgan, who I mean, we still Chase Bank is owned by JP Morgan. I mean, obviously it's not the same guy, but it's the
Yeah.
family money. But Thomas Durant was one of the guys in charge of parts of the Continental Railroad. Where are we at here?
Let's
September
see. Where,
17th,
yeah.
1908. The first fatality involving powered flight occurred as biplane piloted by Orville Wright fell from the height of 75 feet, killing Lieutenant Thomas E. Selfridge and his 26-year-old passenger. A crowd of nearly 2,000 spectators at Fort Myer, Virginia, observed the crash of the plane, which was being tested for possible military use. Wright himself was seriously injured.
Okay. The first. Wow, I didn't know that.
That's why we do this, man.
But yeah, a lot of this I knew. I
That's
had never
literally
heard
why we
that.
do this. There's
That's
a lot
so
of stuff
cool.
out there that we don't
Yeah.
know that, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Selfridge might be a name of a big
Selfridge.
store from back in the day, right? Like
Right.
pre-Walton days,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
maybe an offspring of that guy or something.
Woolridge. Woolridge. Um, September 15th, 1916. Tanks were first used in combat during the Allied offensive at the Battle of Somme. in World War One. Tanks. That had to be an interesting battle. First time tanks ever were used.
You know why they
Complete
called them tanks?
chaos. No.
So, uh, they're initially described as ships on land,
Okay.
and the guy said, "Well, we can't call for our land ships on the radio, right? We had to come up with some sort of code word." So their code
Okay.
word was fish tanks because they came from they were like battleships on land, so they shortened it to tanks.
Huh. Yeah, had no idea.
September
It's pretty cool.
17th, 1939, Soviet Russians invaded eastern Poland, meeting little resistance and taking over 200,000 Poles prisoner. This was done in accordance with the Nazi-Soviet pact, in which the Nazis and Soviets had predetermined how they would divide up Poland.
September 15th, 1940, the height of the Battle of Britain occurred. A massive German air raids took place against London, Southampton, Bristol, Cardiff, Liverpool, Manchester. The British claimed 185 German planes were shot down. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of planes.
September 12th, 1943, former Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was rescued by German paratroopers on orders from Adolf Hitler. Mussolini was being held prisoner by Italian authorities following the collapse of his fascist regime.
Mussolini. That had to be an interesting mission. All right.
I didn't
September
know Germans
15th.
had paratroopers, to be honest with you.
I didn't either. That's more to look into. Like, I was just literally going through what they did. Like, I had no
Well, World
idea
War
they
II
had
was the first
paratroopers.
time U.S. deployed its paratroopers in
Right.
combat. So we always hear
Well,
about, Easy Company, 101st Infantry Battalion. We hear
they
about the 82nd Airborne.
right.
I never heard about
Well,
no German paratroopers.
but they obviously had a successful mission
Seems like
that
it.
yeah, we need to check it out. Um, in September 15th, 1944, the first entry of American troops into Hitler's Germany occurred as elements of the U.S. 7th and 5th Corps reached the southwestern frontier of Germany.
September 18, 1947, the U.S. Air Force. Oh, this is a cool one. So I actually spent some time researching this one. The U.S. Air Force was established as a separate military service. It was originally created in 1907 as the Aeronautical Division of the U.S. Army Signal Corps. In 1914, it was changed to the Aviation Section of the U.S. Army Signal Corps, and then in 1918, for 4 days, it was recognized by the War Department as the Division of Military Aeronautics of the U.S. Army. That's a mouthful.
Right.
After those 4 days, it was again renamed to the United States Army Air Service, or USSAS, and that lasted until July of 1926 when it was renamed to the U.S. Army Air Corps. That name lasted until June 1941 when the last name change would take place as part of the U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Air Forces. So I think everybody's pretty much heard of the U.S. Army Air Corps or the U.S. Army Air Forces.
Right.
I think those are the only two. World War One didn't have a whole lot. There was not really any uh, aeronautical battle, right? We
Right.
didn't have fighter planes and that type of stuff. There was some experimentation with bombers, triplane bombers and stuff, but uh, the Air Force didn't really have an impact till World War II, and that was whenever they changed their name to the U.S. Army Air Forces.
Okay.
September 12, 1953, Nikita Khrushchev was elected first secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the USSR.
September 14th, 1960, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, was formed by representatives of oil producing countries meeting in Baghdad. September 13th, 1971, state police and National Guardsmen stormed Attica prison in New York State, ending a 5-day prisoners revolt. 31 prisoners and 11 guards were killed. Dang.
That's a pretty well documented
Yeah.
prison riot. Yeah, I think there's a movie. I
Isn't
want to say
there a
there's a
movie?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find that. Definitely.
Um, I just put in here September 15th. I didn't add a year because it's kind of it's not really a thing. So I'll read it and then I'll explain it. And there's also a link for those of you following along the document. Actually, for all of our viewers who weren't here at the very, very beginning, the document pinned in our chat every single week is the exact document that me, and if I have a guest, that we will follow for the show. So if there's anything that you want to go back and learn about, or anything that um, you want to quote me on, correct me on, any of that type of stuff, it's all in this document. I share it with everybody as it's written, as I type it. So feel free to open that link and follow along with the show, and comment and chat. We definitely want an interactive chat going on. So September 15th, National POW MIA Recognition Day. Established through the proclamation signed by President Jimmy Carter in 1979, National POW MIA Recognition Day is commemorated across the nation on the third Friday in September. Every American president since Carter, both Democrat and Republican, has issued proclamations for the observance. The 2023 proclamation by President Biden can be found at this link. So basically, it's not an official holiday, is what they're saying. Like, we don't get a day
Right.
off, or we're not getting a day of pay, or none of that stuff, right? But every president takes time out of his busy schedule to form some sort of it's called a proclamation. He types it up or whatever, and it's on official White House letterhead and everything, and he signs it to commemorate all the POW and MIA. And there's, I think at this time, I did a lot of reading on this one, and I only typed in 8 lines or whatever, but I think
Right.
there's still 80. I
Oh
want to say
wow. Yeah.
81,000 American troops
Good
still
Lord.
missing in that.
Damn. September 12th, 1990, a treaty was signed by East and West Germany and the Allies of World War II, allowing for the restoration of sovereignty to a reunified Germany.
So you remember growing up, probably as well as I do, that there was East Germany and West Germany, and there was the wall that separated the two, right?
Right.
So sometimes, like, I don't know what, because the Russian independence happened right after this. So sometimes I get those two instances confused. But I remember after this, my uncle had ordered, I don't know I don't think it was internet, probably, maybe from like some sort of mail order catalog, but he had bought a piece of the wall, like a 2-inch piece of the wall
Mm-hmm.
that separated East and West Germany. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember which one was which, but like I think half of it was because whenever World War II ended, basically, like, the U.S. was supposed to control the east half, and the USSR, I think, was supposed to control the west half or something, right? Like, we split up
Yeah, we had
Germany.
West and I had East.
Yeah, and
I have a
so
chunk
this
of that
was.
wall too somewhere.
Do you?
I do.
If
My
you're ever on
dad
the stream
ordered it.
again, you gotta, yeah, dude, you
Yeah,
gotta.
I'm gonna find that. I think my dad has that somewhere.
That's cool as
Has a
hell.
little
I
piece of
remember.
paper in there and it tells you
Yeah,
which
kind of like
side
we
it
used to
came
get like
from.
baseball cards, like sports
Yeah,
cards
dude,
with the
that's
little.
it's
Yep,
super cool.
I agree. And
I
like
was
I
in
said, my uncle showed me his in the early '90s, and I thought it was cool. Obviously, I remember it because we're talking about it. So
yeah, I was
very
like in
very impactful stuff.
it was 91 or something like that, 90 or 91.
Kids today's, man. We ain't even that old, but kids today
No,
they don't even know how separated the world was just 30 short years ago.
we certainly wouldn't have been doing what we're doing right now.
No, for sure, no. I've got some
Let's see.
birthdays over the
Yeah,
past couple, or 1 week, I guess, just 1 week. So September 12th was Jesse Owens' birthday. He was born in Oakville, Alabama, as James Cleveland Owens. He won 4 medals in track and field at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, defeating Nazi athletes and disappointing Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. So
yeah,
there's
he
a
wasn't
famous
happy about
picture
that.
out there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, whenever he won, what, 4 golds? Yeah,
yeah,
four,
he
no,
did.
just 4 medals, not all gold.
And September 13th is the American Army physician, which is a hospital. Oh yeah, it says that Walter Reed, 1851 to 1902, was born in Gloucester County, Virginia, best known for his yellow fever research. He served as an Army surgeon for more than 20 years. The U.S. Army's General Hospital in Washington, D.C. is named in his honor. Walter Reed Medical
Medical center.
Center? Is it
Yep.
Medical Center, yeah.
So a lot of people I remember when George W. Bush was our president, a lot of people criticized a lot of the stuff that he did, right?
Right.
But the one thing that I remember about him specifically, as I was getting ready to be deployed, as I was gearing up for Iraq in 2003, like I remember seeing videos or news coverage of him going to Walter Reed Medical Center, or it's called Walter Reed Army Hospital, maybe. It's called,
Yeah,
I don't
something
know,
like that.
but
Walter Reed Army Medical Center,
I
maybe.
remember I remember videos of him going there and personally like touching and shaking hands, or placing hands on people that had been injured and were there recovering or being treated, and I thought, what a this is gonna sound stupid as shit. What a lucky time to be alive, like to where we have the means for such great medical care for our wounded soldiers,
Right. Yeah, we
and
are. I mean, really. Yeah.
and then to have a president, a man of such stature that would personally go, even though he knew that he ordered these young men into combat, he was man enough to go in there and say, "Hey, thank you," and like not just make a speech behind a Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. There it is.
Right. Walter
Thanks, Meat
Reed.
Shield.
Thanks, brother.
But it took a lot of balls. I'll just say it. It took a lot of balls to know that you ordered these kids into combat, and then after they're hurt, come home missing limbs. A
Right.
lot of them. Uh, to go in there and own
Yeah.
that and tell them thank you, and give a personal message to
Yeah.
every one of them, and,
That
and
did
pray
take a
with them or
lot.
whatever. Yeah,
It took a
I
lot.
always thought I always thought that was a very honorable thing of him.
Absolutely. I always thought it was cool. My personal opinion, but
I agree. Like I said, my family's a lot of liberals. I feel like I don't really know, but they always talk shit about George W. Bush. And I'm like, hey, look, man. First of all, that was my commander in chief.
right.
Like, second of all, that man owned it. Like,
What for me in my little weird world, my favorite part is the fact that I know that somebody's going to be up there. We're not all going to be happy about it, but at least he was funny as hell. He was funny.
do you
So I
remember
mean, you know,
whenever he told Saddam we're coming for him? So now this could be way wrong, but the way I remember seeing it on TV was uh like he's making this speech, and he's like, I've given notice to Saddam Hussein and his family. They got 48 hours to evacuate Iraq or evacuate
right?
Baghdad, and after that, America's gonna come knocking. And then like 6 hours later, he bombed half the fucking country away. And I'm like, that was so awesome. Like, yeah, tell this guy he's got 2 days, and then just
Totally
over
did it.
lunch, be like, yeah, press the button.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't like that salad.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I was like, I knew I
That
was
was
gonna like that guy.
yeah. He was so entertaining. I mean, I like to do voice impersonations and stuff. I'm not going to do any now, but it's one of the things
Oh,
that,
you got a Bush impersonation?
no, I don't. But Brennan,
Oh,
my son, he likes to do some. But man, George Bush, Dana Carvey, that's I like
no, no,
watching
no.
him
You
do
got to
this.
watch Frank Caliendo. You ever heard of
I
him?
know who you're talking about too, man.
Dude,
Those
that
guys
dude's
tear me up.
impersonations are
Yeah,
on point.
yeah.
He's like,
It's
he's like,
just
yeah, just imagine George Bush walking to the White House, and he's like, boo, scared you? Boo, scared myself.
yes, and he does. It's like that's him. Yeah, that I
But hey,
think
we
that
talked about it last week
the front
with
man's got
our
to be
9/11
funny.
episode. Like those videos, you were with me. We spent a lot of time on the internet together the few
Hmm.
days before that, when I was putting all this shit together, and like feeling all the emotion of the moment, reliving that shit that we haven't, we only think about it once a year, to be honest. It sounds shitty to say, but we only think about it once a year.
Yeah, you don't want to think about
And
it all the time. It sucks.
watching him stand on that pile of rubble in New York and say, I wrote it down right here. He said, I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock down these buildings will hear all of us soon. Like,
Yeah,
there's only a select few Americans in the military that get to hear their commander in chief issue a threat. And that shit was awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I tell you, what was awesome to me is what I said the other day, though, when all you guys showed up that weren't enlisted when it happened, but you enlisted so that you could take part in the whole thing. We were all just like, man, that's awesome. You know, it meant everything in the world to all the old guys that had already been sitting in there doing whatever.
I could not have lived my life with any sort of confidence or masculinity if I didn't enlist. Like there was no part of me that would even consider not enlisting. I couldn't imagine how a guy could sit on his couch and watch the shit on TV. My brain doesn't work that way. That's it.
I think there's a place for everybody, and there are some people I'm glad weren't there. In our case, we didn't have draft or anything like that. But in the previous wars, I always thought how
Right.
lucky we were to have people there that wanted to be there. You know, in previous
Well,
wars, that
yeah,
had
shit.
people
In
there
previous wars, I mean,
that didn't
when
want
the
to be
draft
there, and
was
they
active,
caused
yeah,
more problems than help, really, in my opinion, probably. But it's just war.
you
That's how
I
it
would like
is.
to
You know,
think that once everybody gets to
crazy.
combat, the playing field's pretty much leveled. Like it doesn't matter if you're a draftee from Louisiana or a volunteer from Montana. Either way, if we're sitting in Vietnam together, you know that bond is unbroken, and there's not. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter what your papers say. Like you're still going to do your job. I think. I mean,
absolutely. Right, absolutely. I just think that the mental capacity is that we have now, the people who know what they're headed for, fine with it, and that's cool. You know,
what do you think
we're
about women not being able to be drafted?
they're not able to be drafted.
Yeah, right now only men over the age of 18 have to register for the draft. Or they don't call it the draft now. They have a fancy non-offensive name for it, but it's the draft. Selective service is now what they call it. So
Well,
if shit comes to shit,
there's a place for everything. In combat, there is no place for a man and woman to be distracted with each other. One of the things that happens is when a man sees a woman get in trouble, he will do he will lose focus of everything he's doing to go jump and go save her, and
I agree.
that's why we don't need women in the infantry. Period.
But we got them
On the
now.
front lines, yeah, I know it, but that doesn't need to be. That's just my opinion.
If you
But that's
watch
why it's always been that
two
way.
episodes ago, um,
Um,
we had a young soldier in here. He was getting ready to go. He just signed up and was getting ready to leave for U.S. Army basic training, in in Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the home of the infantry. Follow me. That's
right,
where all the Army infantry comes from, all one base. And he was asking me questions about what to expect, how to be, whatever. And I had mentioned in there about him and the boys he's with, and I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't assume you're a boy. I shouldn't assume you're a man because now women can be in the infantry. And he's like, no, I'm a male. I'm a male. I'm like, I, I I couldn't imagine even going to basic training with that
my
distraction.
my wife could go through Marine Corps infantry easy. She's tough, but that's not the point. And that's where people that take it wrong. It's like, oh, you don't think they can do it? I know they can do it. I met the first female infantry Marine that was in the '80s that actually went through. But what I said, what I said is why. When you read history, one of the things that we were fighting to save was the women, so that we could have kids and carry on our DNA, our genealogy, etc. We didn't want to put them on the front line, so that the it's stupid, and so
Well, you
that's
remember
why
that?
in combat you don't need to be distracted by any more than there already is, and that's just that simple.
Do you remember a situation in Iraq, probably 2002 or three, maybe something like that, four?
Hmm.
It was a female MP. Her convoy got ambushed.
Hmm.
What's her name?
Jessica Lynch.
Jessica Lynch. That's it. I knew it was Jessica. I couldn't remember that. Yeah, Jessica Lynch. Um, that type of shit's real, and I'm
It
not
is
trying
real.
to dog on women by any means. We all love women, okay? The whole world does. But like you said, there's a time and a place for people to do their job, and I'm on the same. uh, I'm in agreement with you that the front lines is not the place
It's
for
not.
our women to be doing
No,
their job.
nobody wants to be there. You know, it's
And I applauded
glamorized,
her actually
glorifies. I do
whenever
too.
that
I respect
whenever
her with
that
all
shit
my
went
heart,
down.
man.
Whenever that shit went down, they were trying to give her every medal in the book. They were trying to give her news interviews and TV shows and talk shows and all that shit. And she declined it all. And then
Mhm.
finally she did one interview and she said, and they were like, well, why aren't you doing these talk shows and stuff? And she said, do you have any idea what I was doing during that ambush? She said, my gun jammed and I curled up in a ball inside I think it was a striker assault vehicle. She was like, I curled up in a ball because I panicked. I didn't know what to do. And the assault just ended. She's like, I did nothing about it. So I don't want any medals. I don't want any recognition because I'm not a hero. I literally cowered in a ball. And so, by her admitting that to the world, I was like, that that took courage. You know what I mean? Like I applaud her for that, and that totally changed my
Exactly.
perspective because at
The
first I was
fact
just
that
mad.
she was in the position to have to curl the ball in the first place took courage to go there. And there's a young lady, somebody's little girl, doing the job of some man that's sitting back on his couch playing some stupid shit ass game.
Well, and you know as well as I do, anybody can be hit at any time over there, right?
Right.
It's you could be at the chow hall. I'll tell you right now, like I don't tell war stories, but I'll tell you a short one. Um, one of our it was like our last week in Iraq, and we had to move out of. We were living in Connex boxes. We had to move out of
Yeah.
our Connex. Yeah, we had to move out of our Connex boxes and into tents for the last like 2 or 3 weeks of our deployment,
Those
so
things are hot.
the incoming guys could live in the Connex boxes.
Right.
And so we're living in these tents, getting ready to rip out. Rip means relief in place. So after you're relieved to your battalion or company, whatever's relieved of duty, we're getting ready to rip out, and we got a mortar attack one night, and like uh, what's the politically correct term for the Hajis?
The other guys.
Insurgents. The insurgents had launched a mortar attack on our base, and broad daylight, like I don't remember 2 or 3 in the afternoon, whatever it was, and this Marine female fucking caught a
Oh no.
mortar, and like I swear to God, and like so I had already been, at that point in time, shit, like 11, 12 months in Baghdad. So like I'm out smoking a cigarette when the mortars are going off. You know what I mean? I don't care at this point.
Right.
And damn, sure enough, the mortar attack sirens going off and all, get covered, get your body armor on, all that shit. And all of us guys who'd already been through the shit before we got here, getting ready to leave, are like, yeah, whatever. And then like,
Yeah,
man,
whatever.
I remember this Marine girl out there laying literally in the middle of the fucking sand, screaming, had been hit by shrapnel from one of these fucking mortars. Just random attack, random chances,
Yeah.
But like that was more detrimental to me than any of the times that we had been hit. Seeing a 21-year-old female laying on the ground
Yeah.
screaming, you know what I'm saying? Like that. There's just I don't
Yeah.
know. It's confusing to me, and I don't know who made the decision, but I'm glad that I'm not in, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. Me too. They don't. Nobody really knows what they're getting into because we have video games and movies that glorify the living hell out of it, and then
And I'm cool
video
with that. For
games
the
you
record,
just
I'm cool with it.
at the right point in the right time. But when you get there, it's not that. That's not like the video game. It's not like the movie. And that's the thing is that it takes people that are willing to go ahead and be like, the stuff that I'm going to do is probably going to cause me to go to hell, and I know that, but I'm going to go ahead and do it so nobody else has to. And
I think
that's
the
the way
only
I see it.
movie
It's like
relevant to when I went was maybe Black Hawk Down.
that one was very, very.
Like I don't
We
think
were
I don't think
stupid.
I don't think there was
We
any any modern conflict movies prior to Black Hawk Down before I got deployed.
no man, we watched that one the night before we got on the ship to go back over to Iraq.
Hell yeah,
It's
you
just
probably got
like we
hard.
were priming ourselves for it. We're like, now is it going to be like this? It wasn't anything like that, by the way. It was actually kind of a pretty calm war, but if you can call it
I always
that,
tell
calm
people
war.
the most
It
real
was a
war
calm
movie.
war.
Everybody's like, "Oh, is this movie real?" Was the Hurt Locker real? No, first of all, the Hurt Locker is terrible. What's
Yeah.
up, Solid Band? Thanks for checking in, man. We miss you. We'll talk
What's up?
later.
They're solid, man.
Yeah. Um, but like, uh, shit. What was I saying? I got all distracted. Solid Band. Thanks. Oh, Black Hawk Down, right?
Black Hawk.
Most real.
Oh,
I think
Hurt
that was the
Locker.
only. Yeah, yeah. I'm saying like movies like the Hurt Locker and stuff weren't out whenever we went. I don't think. I don't know the years that they came out or whatever, but people always ask me like what movies are real, what movies weren't real, and I'm like, hey, if you ever want to see a movie that's like no shit, true to spec, military, watch Jarhead. That's the realest,
That
I
is
think.
pretty real, man. Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is real, every bit of it, because everything that happened in there, we all know somebody that was in that role, and it breaks it down as to
Absolutely.
what I said the other day is that we're all infants. We go into this, and there's certain jobs. Everybody gets a certain job, but there's certain characters, and we already know how some of these characters are going. I mean, that's why they interview you in the first place. We already know how some of these characters are going to react to the training, etc. And man, the part that cracked me up is when the the news lady was there to interview them, and they they were all playing football basically, I
Field
guess, with
fuck.
their clothes. Yeah, they're over there, and it's like, man,
I
yeah,
had to wear my
that's,
NBC gear one time for 24 hours straight. And let me tell you, that shit sucks. Terrible.
man, yeah, we had this thing. What was it called? The McCree, where we walked for like a week with this shit on, and with all of our equipment, and just then there was one night they were like, all right, 0200 shows up, we're gonna put all this crap on for 12 hours. And I'm like, great, there's like coyotes surrounding me and stuff. We're over here in Camp Pendleton off the I-5, Interstate 5, and I can hear the ocean, like a half mile down below me. It's in the middle of the night. You hear all these sounds and everything, and then all of a sudden somebody's screaming out to put on our chemical warfare, whatever the code was. I don't remember. It's just every time I got comfortable, it was something like that. It's like, it's like never a time that I could actually enjoy the surroundings in the Marine Corps. It's on edge at all times. But I guess, I mean, that's the beauty of it. When I look back, all those moments. Let's see, there was one kid that night that we took our Kevlar. He was asleep, so he didn't wake up when we put the alarm out for gas, gas, gas. So can I say this? They do. It's called turtle fucking. It's where you
I
take
know
your
what turtle
Kevlar
fucking
helmet
is.
and you go just like that on top of their helmet and wake them up. So yeah, that's
Yep.
some good memories. Absolutely.
Well, there's a term that I know that you're gonna recognize the second I say it. Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck,
Like
man.
at the time, it's the worst
I
thing you've ever
still have
done
to
in your
say
whole
that.
life. But then once you break through it, once you get to the end, you're like, man, that shit was awesome. You believe I did that? That shit was cool.
That's what's cool about having people around that know that, because if I've started complaining about my day around somebody that doesn't know me very well, or maybe somebody that wasn't in the military, they might be like, "Oh, it's going to get better." Blah 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 blah. If I'm around my wife or you or somebody, you're going to say, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Embrace the suck. And that's what we need. That's what the person needs to have. That type of support, not let's make everybody weaker crap. And that's really
Yeah. It's
what's
not
happening.
all
And
about rainbows, sunshines, huh?
it's not. It's about embracing the suck and getting excited about nothing, and getting everybody else excited, whatever. And that excitement's what creates all the good stuff.
Well, victories wouldn't feel so good if they were easy.
Man, I'm telling you, I
You
can't
know,
think of
coming out,
any time.
we come out the other side of something pretty fucking treacherous. I mean, if you think about it, and like the glory
Yeah,
comes from hardship, right?
absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many things to work from. The excitement's like I was talking about with the painting. It's intimidating. I was talking to somebody the other day. It was someplace, and they're like, "Oh, there's so and so down the road. They've been trying to get him to paint for 5 years." Something out in public. I was like, "Well, it's intimidating. It's intimidating to paint out in public because everybody's watching you, and it's kind of private. It's like if you're going to write a song, you don't want to be right in front of everybody and
Right.
over your shoulder watching you do
Yeah,
it.
you don't know many novelists that sit down in their local park and write a book.
Right, and it's kind of the same thing, but
It is the same
I got
thing.
to the
It's
point,
art.
where I looked right at the camera on the last stream and told everybody this is intimidating. The moment I said that, it set me free, and it enabled me to open a door
Whenever you
for
told me that you're gonna
everybody
do a
else.
live stream
So
for painting, I was like, "Holy shit, you are? What?" Like I was proud for you and of you because like we've talked, man. We've known each other a little over a year and a half, something like that.
right,
And like, man, I know you stepped out of your comfort zone, and it was awesome.
I'm
And
out of my
I mean,
comfort zone right now.
you're not.
I said I am right now
Oh
out of
yeah,
my
yeah,
comfort zone.
yeah. I never thought I'd
Yeah.
get you on the show. I asked you to do a 30-second clip. You remember about 9 months ago? I said, make me a 30-second clip. Just tell me who you are, what you do, and where you served
Yeah,
at.
and
And
that
you're
was
like,
weird as hell. I made it, and then when I looked at everybody else, I was like, "Well, shit, man! That's like some bizarre ass Joker shit."
but now
It's
look
like,
at you. Now you're on here.
can't do that.
We can't wait to have you back, man.
Oh man, there's so many things happening right now. Is what's exciting though. I mean, it's not just one thing. It's this over here and this over here. The art. It's also getting ready to be Halloween, man. I mean, I love fall. Just the whole essence of this time of year is cool to me. The
Yeah,
temperature, the smell, the feelings. The It seems like there's some kind of a spiritual thing. I'm not trying to get all weird about it, but it just seems like there's more things. We're in touch with more things. I learned more about myself this time of year. It seems
well,
like.
changing of the seasons are instinctively special. I mean,
Yes, they
in
are.
the fall time. So look,
Yeah.
we got to save some content for future episodes, and we got to move on with our content for this
Yep.
episode. We
And
can talk about the
we
changing of
could
the
we
seasons and how it
we can
affects.
have a movie if we're not
Yeah,
careful.
I know. Actually, I just got criticized about that before the show. Don't make a movie every time you get on the camera. But we are at birthdays. We got a couple more birthdays to get through, and then we're gonna go to our break. We're an hour into the show, so it's perfect break time. Right now, our last birthday was Walter Reed, which Meat Shield did the research, and he said the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center is the official name of that hospital in D.C.
Good job, you
So
should.
our next birthday on the same day is September 13th is Army General John Pershing. He was born in somewhere in Missouri. He commanded the American Expeditionary Force during World War I and oversaw the Meuse Argonne operation that helped bring about the armistice of November 11th, 1918. So that was the original Veterans Day before it was called Veterans Day. It was called Armistice Day. They signed the armistice on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the year
Hmm.
1918. So there's actually, you're a good general whenever they name something after you. Well, we got the Pershing tank, right?
Yeah, it's a
So
Pershing
you know
missile.
that dude was a good general. We got one more birthday left. Why don't you take him? This is a president.
September 15th, William Howard Taft, 1857 to 1930. The 27th U.S. president was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. He served as president from 1909 to 1913, and then became a law professor at Yale University until his appointment as Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court in 1921.
Hell yeah. All right, so we got upcoming events for veterans and first responders can be found at the link in the document. Meat Shield might be able to post it. If not, follow along the document. Click that link. If you're a veteran and you want to go to an event, they got job fairs, they got uh, whatever. I mean, honestly, tons of stuff like animal rescues, tons of stuff. Click the link, check out what events are in your area. There's hundreds every day throughout our whole country. And also, for those of you who are not aware about vet ticks and first ticks, if you see this link right here, I think it's a little one of those cell phone code picture things. Um, that is a group of people who basically get donated tickets to events, all types of events, sporting events, comedy shows, ice skating, movie reviews, tons of stuff. Click that link. It'll take you, or put your phone up to the screen, and it'll take you to that link, whatever, and it will enable you to get tickets for it's $15. It's a processing fee. You can get 1 or 4 tickets for $15. Doesn't matter. But they're all donated tickets to awesome events in your area. They have, I mean, thousands of events all the time for veterans and first responders to check out. So make sure you do that. And that link there is my specific reference link. So if you click my link, you'll get like 10 extra tickets or whatever, and I will get 10 as well. So do it. It's cool. Everybody's eligible if you're ever served, any first responders. So law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, EMS of any sort, everything. Check out that link. And the next reminder I've got is a veteran spotlight. We have no veteran spotlights, and we haven't for a month and a half. If you know a veteran, reach out, ask him, get us a 30-second video. Tell us who he is, he or she, who they are, where they served, what they served in, and what they're doing now.
Right.
We like to show just the regular Joe, as we call them in the Army. We like to show the regular Joes. Get them some screen time, you know? And on that note, Cowbell Cody, we are at our intermission. Our producer, Meat Shield, is going to play a video from the National Park Service about the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Shiloh. Obviously, this video is a few years old because we're past the 150th anniversary, but either way, it's a fantastic video. And it's Shiloh. There's 2 battlefields. Shiloh and Corinth battlefields were turned into the Shiloh and Corinth National Military Parks, which we covered last week about the National Park Service overseeing more than just national parks. They also oversee military parks and stuff like that. So check out this video. Take a 4-minute break, take a piss, make a drink, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Well, I guess we'll watch another. Heck yeah.
It's empty.
Yeah, waiting on you guys to return. I was bringing up another video, but you beat me to it.
How long was that video? I thought it was like 4 minutes, wasn't it?
Dude, I don't
Apparently
know.
not. Oh well. Hell with it. I'm back. I'm the star of the show anyway. Just kidding. Just kidding. So, Shiloh and Corinth battlefields were the sites of the most epic struggle in the Western theater of the Civil War. Nearly 110,000 American troops clashed in a bloody contest that resulted in 23,746 casualties. Casualties are counted as killed, wounded, or missing. More casualties than in all of America's previous wars combined. With the exception of 2 graves within the National Cemetery, most of the Confederate dead from the Battle of Shiloh remain interred in mass graves on the battlefield. Although as many as a dozen mass graves may be on the battlefield, only 5 have been located and properly marked. That shit is crazy. There are still mass graves in America. I don't know why, I guess never crossed my mind before, but for those of you interested in reading the entire history, there is a web page from the National Park Service. Link is in chat now. Boom shakalaka. And the video link is in the document that's pinned to the top of the page. So feel free to watch that video again. There's a ton. National Park Service has tons of awesome videos on there, and they're all fairly well put together, and we're able to use all of them on this show. So I appreciate the National Park Service for allowing us to do that. And
Indeed.
I don't know if it's all actually like public forum stuff, but I sent them an email and they told me I could use all their stuff. So whether it's a one-off thing or everybody can use it for everything, I'm not sure. But either way, tons of good stuff. They got hundreds of videos, every park, everything. Hey, there's our seasonal co-host.
It got cold.
Yeah, we're back from break, man. Michelle started the show without us. You believe that?
Show must go on.
That's what I said.
So we're down to some congressional activity. We haven't had anything that I've found interesting in the past couple of weeks until now. Now we do. So the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman, John Tester, who's a Democrat from Montana, Ranking Member Jerry Morgan, who's a Republican from Kansas, and U.S. Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington, and U.S. Senator John Boozman, Republican from Arkansas, are teaming up to introduce their bipartisan VA Emergency Transportation Access Act to protect rural veterans' access to quality, life-saving emergency medical care and transport. Veterans living in rural or hard-to-reach areas rely on emergency medical care and transports to access urgent life-saving medical care. In February, VA finalized a proposed rule change for the special mode transportation services rates that would bring rates far below the actual costs of these services that would go into effect February 2024, despite significant opposition from Congress, providers, and veterans service organizations. Rate reductions could cause emergency transportation providers to severely reduce services, close bases, or even bill veterans for the remainder of their cost in order to shoulder the financial impacts of this change. The department's plan to reduce this negative impact through contracted rates above the base rates proposed in the rule is months behind, and many aspects of the contracting plans are still not confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So, what this means is basically, I live out in the middle of nowhere. If I have to
Right.
call 911 and the responding ambulance knows that I depend on the VA for medical services, what has happened is the Department of Veterans Affairs proposed a rule change to pay the ambulance that's going to come to my house and save my life less money than it actually costs the ambulance to run. So the the fire department or emergency medical department that would be responding to my house to possibly save my life would be paying money to do that.
Right.
So what these senators fear is that the ambulance service will either charge me or, worst case scenario, not respond, knowing that they're not going to get paid.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're going to force the VA in writing to cover the cost no matter what it is. And it's a they foresee it affecting rural veterans more than anybody else, because obviously if you live in
Right.
Chicago or Nashville or
Yeah.
whatever, there's an ambulance on every third corner. But guys like me out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere,
You're out
you know,
there.
ambulance is 15 minutes from my door no matter which way you look. So, and that's honestly, any ambulance is going to come to my house is a volunteer service anyways. That's 100% honest. Like, I live in the middle of nowhere and I'm cool with it. I know how to tie the tourniquet, so it's all good. But I don't know who in the VA decided. Like, I'm sure the VA has like a board of directors or a board of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the part that makes me mad. I'm gonna not cuss for a second. This is the part that angers me. The VA is tax funded. Veterans pay taxes. The VA is formed to help veterans. So you would think that would be a mutual interest, right? So the VA has a board of directors or a board of, a quality board, uh, services board. They got tons of boards, to be honest with you. Like
Yeah.
they got so many different sections, just like our government has, right? They got so many different departments. Like Department of Motor Vehicles is one part, and then a Secretary of State actually gives your license plates, and then so the VA is the exact same way. There's 80 different offices for 14 different jobs.
Right.
But the part that gets my panties in a bunch is that somewhere a group of men or women, whatever, sat around the table and decided with a majority vote that they were going to pay my local ambulance service less than it cost to take me to a hospital. So several Americans decided that I wasn't worth what it cost to take me to the hospital. Period. There's no way you can stretch this or change it to where I won't think any different. That happened. Those guys that made that decision, that said I'm not worth it, are paid by my and your tax dollars. What is wrong with us? Am I unstable, or am I seeing this clearly?
Loud and clear.
The
What
problem
in the
is
hell?
it's not us. Say what's wrong with us, but it's not us.
We're kind
The
of
general
like
public agrees with you.
vicariously watching this.
Well, who's calling the shots? Someone in the beginning and the end of it all, someone has the right to hire somebody and the right to fire somebody in the VA. Period.
Yeah, but they don't. They all watch out for each other. They don't fire each other.
Okay, so we're back to a group conspiracy. So
Right?
the VA is
No,
a
well,
secondary
just
government.
voting and everything else.
Yeah.
But they don't give themselves term limits and everything else either. So I mean, they're not shooting themselves in the foot.
So at what point in time does it stop? At what point in time does the American veteran become the priority for the VA? I mean, the number one priority, the inconsolable, indisputable priority.
You would have thought that would have already been the thing.
How do we change it? This takes me to the last sentence of my show today.
Yeah, I have
Don't
no clue
talk
how
about
to
it, be
change it.
about it.
I understand the voting for the government, but I don't know how you would change the VA.
I know exactly how. You take people like me and you apply for a job there. Or you take people like me and you vote for the congressman that isn't a Democrat from Washington trying to manipulate the system. And I
Right.
just picked a Democrat from Washington for shits and giggles. That happened to be the one I looked up at. But like, my point is, how are these people employed still? Like, why is not only now has the VA, who are all salaried on taxpayer dollars, made the stupid rule. Now our congressmen, who are salaried on taxpayer dollars, have to sit around the table and overrule them. So we're spending twice as much money to get zero results. One guy made a rule and the other guy says, nope, not a rule. but all 60 people involved are making
Right.
6 figures a year on taxpayer
Yeah.
dollars. What the hell is that shit?
Ouch.
I swear to God, if I could
Shady
run for
government.
office, man.
Can't you?
What's
The,
stopping
the
you?
last person in office that drank as much as I do is Kennedy.
What?
I had to throw a little humor in there.
It
I
just
can't be
caught
mad and serious all the time, but no, for real though. Like it blows my mind. That's why I put this as topic 1 back from break. What in the hell are we doing? All these people in this whole conversation are funded by taxpayer dollars, and our taxpayers aren't doing nothing except for writing the check. If you're not calling your congressman, if you're not sending emails to your congressman, if you're not calling your local VA hospital and asking them who's in charge there, like
Right.
then you're not doing nothing about it. And that's the bottom line. And I'll tell you right now, first and foremost, I'm not doing it. I just learned about this, and I'm not saying I'm gonna do it, but I'm sure shit gonna get on this camera and bitch about it. So when I say you're not doing nothing, like I'm not telling you that from as a cold-hearted bastard who does everything right. I'm not doing nothing either, but we all got to do. We, like eventually we got to own up to each other, right? Like I owe you something. We owe it to each other. We all got to stand up together. I don't know where it starts or how it starts, but this shit ain't cool. This is not okay.
It's not cool. It's aggravating. I feel like no matter which way we go, we can attack. It's
Yeah,
attacking
I
in
mean
all directions.
everybody's
Yeah.
got their hand in my wallet. No one's got their hand pat me on the back. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
What
That's
are we
what's
doing?
happening. Kind of reminds me of some crazy songs I've heard, but
Some
it's
psalms or songs?
some songs.
Oh, okay.
Mama told me not to come.
Oh yeah, that's the Who.
I think so.
No, Three Dog Night. Damn
Yeah,
it!
that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Three Dog Night?
Everybody's trying to get something from you.
And I get that, and that's what we're all here for anyway. I mean, to be honest, to look yourself in the mirror and say you're not here for yourself is bullshit. Because we're all here to get something, right? But can we be a little more selective about the group we're taking from? Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna sit here and cry about my service or nothing like that, but I feel like I've kind of done my part. You know, maybe like
Yeah.
ask somebody else for a handout, or pick somebody else's pocket for once.
Right.
How about my governor? He's a shithead. He's going to prison. The third governor in like 12 years.
Oh crap.
What is he?
I'm
I
not.
don't know anything about
Why
this.
wouldn't he?
What
Why
in the
wouldn't
world's
he?
going
I
on
mean,
up there?
he got elected while committing tax fraud, or they knew he committed the tax fraud and still got elected. Just
Oh,
saw,
it gets better than that. So whenever the coronavirus is going on, guess who owns like 30% of the stock in the company
his
that
brother's
invented
company,
the virus? Yeah, his
right?
family
And then he
owns like a
owns
third of the.
like
He made
some
like
crazy in
3.6
masks
million
and stuff.
dollars
Yeah,
in 3 months on the coronavirus. Our governor,
yeah,
shady as shit.
dirty.
That's the way we do it in our state, though. We already got 2 in
Shady
Colorado
Larry.
in the federal pen. No joke.
Man.
It's Chicago, man. They're all filthy. Chicago and Springfield, everywhere from anywhere in Illinois. Chicago and Springfield, dirty.
Hang on, Chicago.
All
Be
right,
its own
so I'm
state.
done bitching about that. You got anything to say about that, Cody? You're a veteran. What do you think? Should we
Man.
pay a group of board members to sit around and make decisions on our behalf, and then also pay a group of congressmen to sit around and overrule them?
We should create a whole other group that disagrees with that group and take over.
You know anything about Rome, about the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic? They had what was called the triumvirate. So they had 3 presidents at the same time. Anything the Senate came up with, the three leaders had to. There's always a majority, right? Because there's 3 of them. 2 had to vote one way, period, to get anything done. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I'm just saying.
I don't even triumphant.
Why don't you take us with the news of the week here?
That's probably one of the smartest things I've heard anyone say all damn week or all
I got so many
month.
good ideas, man. You wouldn't even believe it. Of course, I think they're good ideas, right?
Triumphant. Yeah, my dad did tell me about this at some point. He's a walking history book. I have to
I'd
think
probably
more
get
to
along with your
read
dad
more
very
about
well.
this. You would. You like my dad a lot.
Yeah,
Cool dude.
there's actually two sets of triumvirates. Um, Julius Caesar was in the first one.
Triumvirates.
Yeah, with
Triumvirates.
a V. Tri and then umvirant,
Triumvirate.
which in Latin means like overseer. So 3 overseers. That's what it breaks down to.
Right.
So fuck it, I'll go into history on you. So Julius Caesar was in the first one with Magnus Pompey, or Pompey Magnus, a lot of people call him, and Marcus Crassus, which was commonly known as the "What's up, Kingdom Expert?" Thanks for coming in, man, or lady. I'm on a roll today with getting assuming sexes, huh? But so those three basically led. At that point in time, it was actually a republic. Julius Caesar, contrary to popular belief, never led an empire. He led a republic. He was always an elected official his entire time alive. But so those three men, basically two war heroes and the richest guy in Rome, were the first triumvirate. And then the next generation came along, and it was Octavian or Augustus Caesar and Mark Antony and I forget the last guy's name. Um, Lepidus were the next three, and so that went on for 20 years in Rome, and it was a very good system. That was the Roman people that we read about and cherish. That's the famous ones. The when Rome was truly at its peak.
Right. It was actually popping.
I don't think it's a bad deal.
I don't think it's a bad deal
We
either. I like that.
we kind of have that. I mean, honestly, America is founded on Roman beliefs, anyways.
Absolutely.
So we're not far from that because we have the three separate branches of government, right? I think that was kind of their idea of that was to have a triumvirate to where the three were separate but equal type of deal. But we all know at the end of the day, like there's a reason that our Senate and our House of Representatives don't check each other's budgets. That's a fact. So any budget proposals for the House or the Senate don't get double checked by the other branch.
I don't know.
Well, why don't you take us through the first topic on news of the week?
News of the week. Okay, let me find
Got some
this.
trouble down there in our border states.
Where am I? News of the week. Okay. Immigration to the U.S. is at all-time high. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
Sheriff Mark Downs of Cochise County, Arizona's most eastern border county, he asked federal officials for help. Sheriff Daniels alleges that Customs and Border Protection has began releasing migrants into small communities without any sort of infrastructure to attend the needs of these people. Um, some migrants were even dropped off at a bus stop outside a supermarket in Bisbee, population 4,900, with nothing but their papers and clothes on their backs. Apparently, Border Patrol officials began releasing migrant persons because their facilities are overwhelmed. The process is not working.
I added that last. Actually, I typed that whole thing up.
I like that.
Yeah. So what has happened here is uh, the border patrol is responsible for controlling the border. So they have so many like applicants that apply to come to the United States. Their facilities are so overwhelmed. They're literally so packed with human beings that they are just stamping approved and kicking them out. So it says some migrants were even dropped off at a bus stop outside of a supermarket in Bisbee. So Bisbee is a small town, population 4,900. I don't know if how many people are in your town. The town I live in is 1,000. Meat Shield, how many people are in your town?
Maybe 600. Maybe.
So we're both
Oh, holy
from
moly!
small towns, right?
All right.
They dropped they dropped off a group of these immigrants without proper process just because their building was literally overwhelmed,
Right.
and they just drop them off. So these immigrants, like these towns that these immigrants are getting dropped off at, like they're not prepared for it. They don't have a conversation. There's not a board meeting. They're just dropping them off. They don't have anything. They don't have enough money to rent a house or to get a job, buy a car, or they don't have what it takes to have a job or rent a motel room or nothing. They're just dropping these people off literally at a bus stop outside of a supermarket. It's crazy.
Knowing that people have hearts and will stop what they're doing to try to do something themselves at some point.
The
This is
entire
too
article
much.
can be read at the link that Meek Shield just shared with our chat. So, on the same line of conversation, more asylum seekers than anyone can handle. Mexico is on track to break the record for most asylum applications ever, already having over 100,000 and on pace for 150,000 by the end of the year. People seeking asylum are growing impatient and violent, forcing their way into facilities in groups. The National Guard was called upon and in riot gear stood guard outside of the agency's office in Tapachula, Mexico, where authorities claim to be accepting about 2,000 applications daily.
Holy moly.
2,000 a day. Again, full article can be found in chat. So yeah, these people from countries south of Mexico are basically. So I see the way this is working.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming from South America and Central America, applying for asylum in Mexico because they have a asylum policy somewhat like ours, right? To where if you claim asylum, we can't deport you.
Right.
So they're moving to Mexico in droves, 150,000 a year, and then jumping our border because they know we're not going to send them back. See how that works?
Yep.
So for every person that comes to Mexico, we're getting X percentage, 2/3, or I don't know what the percentage is exactly. They're coming to America, illegally or legally, either way. It's all like a twofold plan to get to America, and
Right.
Mexico alone is processing 2,000 applications daily. That's the people who choose to use the system and choose to use it right.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
you
ones that
got
are actually,
how many
yeah,
people aren't? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like it's just crazy. Again, the process is not working.
It's not working. Damn it. Tag on
These topics bring
process.
up the case for U.S. involvement on the world stage. Just 20% of Americans favor engagement overseas. Nearly 42% favor greater isolationism. Fully 51% of Americans say that the United States should pay less attention to problems overseas and concentrate on problems at home, up from 30% in 2002. So a 21% increase in 1 year.
Yeah, that's
President
crazy.
Joe Biden has made efforts to reverse this drift towards disengagement, arguing that America should, quote, defend democracy around the world and stand in solidarity with those beyond our shores who seek freedom and dignity, and champion liberty and democracy and rally the free world. All those are quotes, apparently, from Joe Biden. By coming to the aid of democratic Ukraine, Biden lived up to those words, but Afghanistan serves as a grim reminder that the policy hasn't always matched the rhetoric. Recall that Afghanistan held 7 free and fair elections in the 20 years before the withdrawal from Kabul in August of 2021, a withdrawal negotiated by the Trump administration and carried out by the Biden administration. But again, this was a reflection of the national mood. In the spring of 2021, 69% of Americans supported completely pulling out of Afghanistan and leaving its flawed and feeble democracy to fend for itself. Americans supported completely pulling out of Afghanistan and leaving its. I just said that. Sorry.
There you
My
are.
quote: I'm game for America being the world's police, the world's liberators, and the army of democracy, but not at the cost of the U.S. taxpayer. If you
Right.
want freedom, we will come fight for you, but you got to foot the bill, no matter the cost. No cost is higher than the U.S. veteran pays.
Excellent.
What do you think, man?
I think
Give me your
that's
thoughts.
number one. I mean, if you can break it down for everybody can understand what's going on is that we're flipping the bill for everything and doing all the dirty work too.
Right.
And then they're taking the money from the people that are who had to do the dirty work and didn't get paid enough for it in the first place.
American pride,
Can I
man.
jump in
Thanks for
on
coming
that?
in.
Yeah,
I appreciate you,
yeah,
bro.
go for it.
Didn't Trump? This is basically what Trump said to UN. We don't mind being the protectors that we are, but you got to pay, not free.
Right.
You can't just expect us to be the world's police and it just be free. We foot the bill and all that stuff. I mean, it's the way it is.
Yeah,
The way it
every
should be.
time the UN wants every time the United Nations as a whole want to intervene with something, they always call the U.S. government first, and they say, "Hey, man, can you send us 50,000 of your baddest motherfuckers?" And Trump's like, "Sure. How much you gonna pay us?" Basically, is the long and the short of it. Like,
Right.
I can't pay my guy's salary and make him eat a shit sandwich at the same time.
You know, it's like ordering a pizza.
Right. But then the
And
government, whatever they may gain from it or not gain from it or whatever, it's not like we foot the bill, but we don't see that or anything like that. So I mean, even if it's whatever, they say oil for this or whatever that. I'm
Yeah,
sure
did your
that
gas prices go down this year?
yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, I
No.
don't think so. Mine didn't either.
So I mean,
So
it's like double hitting us, the people, rather
right.
than not just the
Cowboy asked me
government.
a question one time about my service whenever I went to Iraq. He was like, "So what'd you notice whenever you came back?" And I said, "I was gone for 18 months. I came home, and gas got cheaper. My buddies are still getting drunk. So like for the American people, nothing changed. How do we
Yeah.
save money when we're at war? You know what I'm saying? Someone's footing the bill for something, and it ought to be the other people. That's all I'm saying."
I completely agree.
I guess when I came back, the thing I noticed was there was some just better music.
Better music.
Yeah. Chevelle. We all thought it was Tool.
Chevelle
We,
sucks.
yeah, but it was good for us at the point that we were at.
If I hear that song "The Red" one more time, I'm gonna jump off my roof. That dude's a whiny bitch. I'll just say
He
it.
is. He is crying, isn't he?
He's still crying
He's a
so hard.
crybaby.
Oh my
Damn
god,
crybabies.
Chevelle.
Where are we going with this?
All right, take us off to the next one.
All right. Moving right
Oh
along.
yeah, shit. This is great. This is right on the same topic.
2022 saw 113 billion U.S. tax dollars given to Ukraine alone. The 2023 budget shows 60.4 billion requested, which won't include any emergency or disaster funds like the money to Ukraine. 2022's figures alone could send over 2.8 million Americans to 4 years of college at a reputable school such as Purdue, University of Central Florida, or Arizona State, and hundreds more. People in the United
So
States
that's
are under.
that,
Okay,
that
yeah,
that's
go
a
ahead.
topic in itself. I wrote
Right.
that personally, and I did the research personally. And to the best of my researching ability, those are facts. In 2022, we saw $113 billion given to the Ukraine. Where do you think the U.S. gets this money? Do you think we're investing in Dow? Do you think we got our money from Microsoft? No, we get our money from taxes. That's where we get our money from, right? $113 billion. So when I did the math on this, I said 2022's figures alone could send over 2.8 million Americans to 4 years of college at a reputable school. That's a school with an average of $10,000 a year tuition, which,
Right.
and then I included the first three schools I found: Purdue, University of Central Florida, and Arizona State. Right? Everybody knows those three schools. Their tuition costs approximately $10,000 a year. Actually, I think they're all under the 10,000 mark from what I read. And that was last year's figures. But
Right.
can anybody tell me what's going on in the Ukraine right now?
I have no idea.
Nope.
No idea. I don't know either. No one fucking knows because no one gives a shit. We don't have Americans there. We didn't deploy 250,000 soldiers there. We don't care. So we spent what could have sent 2.8 million Americans to college, entire college education, on some other country, on somebody else's kids. That's a problem, right?
Yeah.
American Pride Gaming says
Some
gross.
sort
You're damn right.
I mean, not just Ukraine, but anybody.
of, he
Anytime
said
something happens,
gross.
it's always us.
It's
Always
always
us.
us.
Always. What is with that?
The people of the United States are undereducated and overweight, with our government seemingly striving to make our situation worse. We need to pressure our politicians to publish their spending records and push for less erroneous spending. I can't be the only one that thinks an election shouldn't cost $10 billion. And by the way, that is a factual statement. The last midterm election cost $9.8 billion. That's not, that's numbers we can't even understand. Us little people can't even understand.
I don't even
Our
know.
last
I
election
can't even
cost us
say that
$10
number.
billion just to do an election.
Thank God.
How much do those fucking ink pens cost?
Don't they have like $40,000 hammers or something stupid like that?
Jesus.
The way they do their budgets, you either spend the money or you lose it. You just keep blowing it on.
As long as we let them. So, anyways, I've included a publication from the Congressional Budget Office. It's a graphic report, so it includes all the charts and all the shit, several pages long, at that link that Meat Shield is getting ready to share with our chat. If you want to see, I think it shows like the last 5 or 6 years of graphics there, and so you'll notice in there there's approximately, let's see, what was the election cost like $9.8 billion, and like one, I don't remember what the term was, but like $1 billion or something was on like, damn, I forgot the term they used. It was discretionary spending. So that's where you're talking about getting lunches delivered. Actually,
Right.
at one point in time, the U.S. government, taxpayer dollars, funded the use of military aircraft to transport congressmen. So I don't really know if that was for show or what, but that's actually in the budget that we hired our own military to fly our congressman somewhere, or put on a show for our congressman or whatever it was. But it's just crazy. It's
Right. Yeah, I'm reading this whole thing.
Are you? It's
Yeah, well,
it goes back several years.
yeah, I'm at April 18th, 2014, federal budget in 2013.
Like our show wasn't even long enough for me to go into what's happened over the past 20 years. You know what I mean? All the shit they're talking about is over the past 12 months.
Yeah.
Other topics this week is the PACT Act. For those of you who don't know, the PACT Act is like something about exposure. Basically, if you're overseas, I'm getting some erroneous noise here. Toilet flushing? Meat Shield, are you using the toilet?
No,
What the
but
hell?
I forget that you can hear me regardless if you can hear me.
Oh, you're not on the stream? I'm just hearing you? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm on stream now, but
So the PACT Act is basically for overseas exposure to anything. Like if you ever saw the sun or like saw sand, then you're eligible. September 14th, the Department of Veterans Affairs announced that veterans and their survivors had filed more than 1 million claims for toxic exposure-related benefits under the PACT Act. The VA claims it has processed more than 551,000 of those claims, granting almost 78% of them, and awarding over $2.2 billion. So this is for the guys. Anybody who had to deal with burning shit, burn barrels. Anybody who had to deal with JP5 or JP8, any sort of fuel, any refuels are eligible. And to me, the messed up part about all this is that the Biden administration came up with this great idea that they would remove the burden of proof. So now you can claim, you can make a claim under the PACT Act, and they are not allowed to ask you to prove it. So you don't even have to prove that you served overseas in these toxic areas, and you can get your money. So while we're spending $10 billion on an election, they're going to give you all of us veterans combined $2 billion. So that's pretty cool. My point is, whether you think you deserve it or not, get in on that shit. They're closing the door on it. There's a tight window. If you ever served overseas in any sort of combat zone, pretty much desert combat zone, it had to be Kuwait, Afghanistan, Iraq. I'm sure the Air Force shitheads who were on vacation in Qatar the whole time probably get it. Um, it's free care. So anything like respiratory related that you're going to have for the rest of your life will be covered. It's not necessarily a paycheck in your pocket, but it's put your name on a list of people that if you have these symptoms, we'll take care of it. Is what it is. It's not really a waste of your time. You might never use it, but if you do, it's worth it. So
Right.
look into the PACT Act. Cowboy Cody, you do it. American Pride, you do it. I've turned on all my buddies on this shit. We're all exposed to weird shit, and it's better to get your name on this list and be included in whatever research and care is available in the future than not, right? So the deadline was, I think, August 30th, but it's a floating deadline now, I guess. So
Okay.
they already moved the deadline twice. So it may not be too late. Check out these links to see if you're eligible. I will share those in chat. American Pride says he already got enrolled and can go to any hospital for it. That's what I'm talking about. So not necessarily a paycheck, but get your name on that list. So in the future, if you need it, it is there, and you don't have to fight somebody and do a bunch of paperwork in the future.
The
Right now, they're making
future.
it easier than ever to get the care you need. So the two links I shared, the first one is the PACT Act and how it relates to you as a veteran. That's just an article with several links inside of it, telling you what you need to do to be enrolled, etc. And the second one is your intent to file a VA claim. So you don't necessarily have to file a claim to be included. You just have to file intent, basically. So the intent is just the basics, um,
Right.
the basics of a claim, and then obviously I think it's a 12-month window you have to actually file your claim. But basically, get your name on the list so you can fill out the paperwork later. But do it. VA American Pride Gaming says VA does cover some, but it is circumstantial. Um, American Pride, that's not my experience. I mean, everybody experiences their VA differently. They asked me if I had ever been around any burn pits or anything. I said yeah, and that was it. They didn't ask me like what kind, how long, how often, none of that stuff. And they're like, okay, cool. Any respiratory issues from now on, you're covered. That's what the Navy doctor told me. I wasn't even in the Navy, but he's a Navy doctor.
Yeah. Go Navy.
He was retired Navy. He said he spent like 20 or 22 years in or something. He's a good dude. All right. You want to take the next one?
Sure.
We kind of talked about it
Let's
a little bit
see.
earlier.
Veterans may be too late. Check it out. Oh yeah, National POW MIA Recognition Day held each year on the third Friday of September is September 15th. Of the 81,409 service members who still remain unaccounted for, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency DPA estimates that about 38,000 are recoverable, with about 200 identifications made a year. And then there's a link.
The next bit you can continue. It's just an
Okay.
elongation of the same thing.
September 15th was National POW MIA Recognition Day in September 1966. Ann Mills Griffiths was at the home of her parents in Bakersfield, California, when she received the news her brother, Navy Lieutenant James Mills, a radar intercept officer, and his pilot, Navy Lieutenant Commander James Bowder, had been flying an F-4B Phantom over North Vietnam when they disappeared from radar in the dead of night. No flak, missiles, or anti-aircraft artillery were in the area. No explosions were seen or heard. Search and rescue aircraft saw nothing. Bowder and Mills had vanished. Thus began Ann's 5-decade search for answers. a crusade initiated during the Vietnam War by many other women just like Anne, sisters, mothers, daughters, and wives of missing and captive men in Southeast Asia. They rallied a nation behind their cause with the wildly popular, uh, let's see where we at, wildly popular post office.
Nope,
And at the,
all the popular POW MIA bracelets.
oh, there we go. Yeah. Um, POWI bracelets and the iconic black, there we go, and white flag that now flies at the White House, the capital in every U.S. post office. And at the war's end, these women pressured the Pentagon to create a permanent government agency whose sole task was to resolve the still lingering issue of missing men from the Vietnam War. Established in 1973, the Joint Casualty Resolution Center, JCRC, went through several name changes before becoming the Defense POWMIA Accounting Agency, DPAA, which today has an annual budget of 130 million and a staff of 700.
So on our fourth or fifth episode, I believe, we did a kind of little special deal about this guy. He was in Vietnam, and he, you know what I'm talking
I
about?
think I think I do. I do
Yeah,
remember this.
he was in Vietnam, and he had got hit by some shrapnel or something, and was on the
Right.
battlefield. And one medic come up to him and said, "He's too far gone. He's not going to make it." Another medic came up to him and said, "Now we can save this guy." Well, the first medic had already ripped off his toe tag, right? And so he ended up going to the hospital, getting healed up, and all that stuff. And they had later, this lady on vacation in Vietnam had found a dog tag in like a tourist shop or whatever, right?
Right.
And mailed it to the last known address of this guy, and thinking that he was dead because he was listed, as a casualty of war, and he received it. He was still alive, and he got his
That's
other
awesome.
dog tag back. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's so cool.
yeah, so it's a fantastic deal, and it's
Wow.
I
That's
was
amazing.
yeah I was uh enthralled. I don't know how else to say it, by the history of the DPA, the Defense PWMIA Accounting Agency. So their sole task is to research and track down missing soldiers. Actually, about 6 weeks ago, a guy from an hour from my house, they found his remains, and
Wow.
he was able to come home
And was
from
that
World
in
War II.
Vietnam?
Actually,
World War
no, World War
II?
II. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this
That's
this is
even
like has a direct
more
impact,
amazing.
on
Yeah.
me and my area of living, and it was very cool to see that. And he got
Yeah.
full military honors when he landed, all that stuff.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
So the American Legion, we spent a lot of time talking about the American Legion. I'm a member of my local American Legion post. It's probably, in my opinion, the most impactful organization for veterans. The Legion's impact in August. The following are just a few of the many ways the American Legion broke records and had a positive impact on veterans, their families, and children and youth in August. You can see the full list of impact reports here as a link getting ready to be shared. The American Legion Riders, which is a motorcycle riding division of veterans uh, under the American Legion banner, delivered an all-time high of $1,551,631 to the stage of the 104th National Convention for the Legacy
Wow.
Scholarship Fund. The Sons of the American Legion celebrated an all-time high membership of 375,743, enrolled on August 10th. So, Sons of the American Legion are people who did not serve, but are direct descendants of those who did. There were 6,272 mobile device downloads of the 104th American Legion National Convention app, smashing the 2022 high downloads of by nearly 5,000. So the American Legion this year has made 6 times, has seen
That's,
6 times more downloads on their app.
yeah.
So we're spreading the word 6 times bigger, this year.
Wow.
$4,194 is the amount in the American Legion National Temporary Financial Assistance Grants awarded to veteran families in August to stabilize homes for 6 children after unexpected economic hardships. So that's real money. And that's what I talk about when I talk to people about the American Legion. Like that number to anybody, it might seem low, $4,200, right? But that's literally direct deposit American dollars to help these 6 kids. Not not like, Wounded Warrior Project or Mission 22 or any of this other bullshit that's out there. This
Right.
is actual hard dollars that these kids get to spend on school supplies and groceries in
Yeah.
August. $4,200.
That's a lot.
Fantastic. Take it away.
Let's see. We're at more. There were 42
More
American Legions.
impact.
More impact. There were 42 American Legion service officers accredited in August to serve veterans and their families, free of charge with the VA and state veterans benefits. If you need help filing a service-connected disability claim, American Legion service officers are available to help veterans and their families free of charge. Locate a service officer near you. And here's the link. Um,
Links in chat. I can personally attest that these service officers do great work and can answer most any question posed by veterans. If you need help with anything, contact your veteran service officer and they can put you in touch with the appropriate personnel. And I mean that. That is a sentence typed by me in our document, but it's typed by me in our document, so I mean it. Whenever I was going through my disability claim, like trying to get doctor visits and documents from 20 years ago overseas or whatever, like these guys, they are motivated. They will do all of the legwork on your behalf. Anything they don't know, they will find out and tell you the answer. Like I cannot uh, emphasize their impact enough. They're fantastic.
mm,
All right, so you got anything else? I'm at the recap and close section.
yeah, there's to recap and close.
Oh, all right, I got something. We started a Patreon today. I started the
Yeah.
Patreon,
Okay.
so
Well,
anybody could find it in their hearts and their wallets.
it's at the very beginning.
Yeah. We only have one tier membership right now. We're gonna do more. We're gonna expand on it. I just started it today. My initial thought is that a minimum of 50% is gonna go straight to my American Legion post, and then the other 50% is going to go back into our stream. So whether it be doing, Discord Nitro to upgrade the server, or Twitch Extreme or whatever they call it to so I can stream in high definition instead of this crap.
Right.
Um, just trying to start somewhere, and I know eventually. I mean, long term, it'd be awesome if I could start like some sort of small nonprofit. You know what I mean? Like actually, because I just don't trust people. I don't trust that the Wounded Warrior Project says, X amount of their dollars go to this. Yeah, well, I know for a fact that their CEO makes $400,000 a year. So
There's the link down there.
yeah, yeah, there you go.
Mm,
Thanks, Meat Shield. That's our Patreon. Our initial tier is $3 a month, so it's even less than a Twitch subscription. And the reason I did that is because we got invited to go Twitch affiliate, which a Twitch subscription is $5 a month, and the page the only sees 250 of it. Twitch takes half, right? So I
right.
figure at $3 a month, we're saving our viewer $2 a month, and we're making 50 more cents a month. So it should be better for everybody just to do a Patreon deal.
Right.
Patreon only charges 10%. So if you give me $3 a month, they charge 30 cents. Our page, our talk show takes home $2.70 of that $3. So to me, it makes a lot more sense to do it this way and just use
Makes a lot
Twitch as
more
a platform
sense.
to speak, and then hopefully we can. I'm excited, man. Like if we ever get to the point where we're making, if you guys give me $100, like man, it'd be insane. I guarantee you, if you give me $100, you'll see pictures of the people's lives that we changed. It's not going to be like this out of touch shit you see on Facebook asking for money for veterans. Like I'm gonna be here every week, and we start making an impact. You guys are gonna see direct results every week. So we got our Patreon up, got our VetTix link located somewhere. Where's that thing at? It's I think there-ish, right?
What's up, Smitty?
Yeah, there-ish somewhere. Oh, Shitty Smitty, what up, man? About time you check in. Uh, I wanted to cover again the America the Beautiful Lifetime Pass for veterans. That is a free lifetime pass to all national parks, national military parks, Army Corps of Engineer lands, and battlefields for our country. Period. Any veteran's eligible for it at no cost. You can go see the most beautiful places in the country you defended for free. Ask me how to do it. Reach out to me in Discord. Reach out to me in chat. Whatever you want. We also have a YouTube channel up. If anybody has missed any of our episodes, it's youtube.com/@PatriotView, I think. Check that out. Tomorrow we have MoreCowbellCody's live art stream, right? Every Tuesday is what we're doing.
As of now, yes, every Tuesday.
As of now, every Tuesday. So Mondays with me, Tuesdays with that Cody.
Yep.
Check it out. It's awesome, man. I think I think you got big and good things coming.
We're gonna have fun. I know that much. Whatever happens, it's gonna be
All
awesome.
right. Well, Meat Shield, we're almost ready for our credits. Who we got streaming? Who we want to raid to? American Pride. Are you streaming tonight? You still in chat? I don't even have Twitch pulled up, so I couldn't tell you.
I don't either. Oh,
Nope, he's not streaming tonight. Well, this is the first time we don't raid you in a while, huh? Well, I know who is streaming. Burstix is streaming.
yeah, man,
Let's go
definitely.
raid Burstix.
Go
It's
raid Burstix. Definitely.
you should be able to have the command now, Meat Shield. It's \raid space Burstix. BURSTIXTV.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to give me that again. I am trying to. I pass. All right.
Let's see.
Give
I
me that.
might be able to do it.
Yeah, you do it.
Burstix TV. Oop, not TB, not tuberculosis. Jeez. If you want change, make change. You can't cry about the State of the Union if you aren't on the phone with your representatives. And as I always say, don't talk about it, be about it.
Can you hear
Let's
the dog?
roll them credits.
Doggone dog.
To talk, call a brother, reach out to our team via Discord or call the Veterans Crisis Line by dialing 988, going to veteranscrisisline.net for online chat or texting 838-255. For all you all are invited for NASCAR and NFL Sundays in my Discord channel. Links in the credits, and a special thank you to Verdict for the music video for the intro. Appreciate you guys. Thank you everybody for coming. I hope to see you all next week. Make sure you check out Cowboy Cody tomorrow.